Okay, thanks for coming. Thanks for the nice introduction. I'm Kevin van Liebergen from India Software Institute, and today I will be presenting our work titled All Your Database Are Belong to Us, Characterizing Database Ransomware Attack. Databases are a critical asset for the digital services, making them a great target for the attackers. In this work, we performed the first systematic study on database ransomware attacks. In this class of attacks, the attackers search for unauthenticated servers. Once they find a victim, they try to log in. Then they delete the database content, and then they leave a ransom note by creating a new database table with a catchy name, like readme to recover your data. These ransom notes include information to how to get the data back. These ransom notes include payment details, such as the Bitcoin address or the payment amount, or the contact details, such as the email address or the onion address. Well, this sequence is what we're going to call an infection. So, to analyze the landscape of the database ransomware attacks, we need the data from the LeakIX Internet Scanner. An Internet Scanner scans all IP addresses searching for servers, and for each server, it analyzes which services are running. We gathered ransom notes from 2021 to 2024. Collecting 302,000 of infections that belong to 60,000 of IPs. And we collect 23,000 of ransom notes. Also, we gather first-hand information to better understand how do these attacks work. We deploy 5 honeypots in different countries using cloud hosting providers. We create an empty password for the root user, and we populate it with artificial generated data. We run these honeypots during 2 months, and we analyze the logs. And we see that we got 131 infections. We see that the attackers do a sequence of commands to infect us. They brute force the login, trying the most common usernames with and without passwords. They list the databases, they delete the data, and they leave a ransom note. Optionally, they lock the database by turning it off or disabling internet connections to prevent infection from other groups. We see that these attacks, these infections are automated by using scripts. We see the first infection in 14 hours. And by the sequence of command, we don't see any malware installation. We don't see any data exfiltration. So you cannot recover the data even if you pay. So we prefer to call this class of attacks scams. Okay, by analyzing the sequence of commands, we could identify 2 groups. Group A infected us 123 times, leaving us the same number of ransom notes. When we replace the IOCs, the indicator of compromise, such as the Bitcoin address or the email address, with macros, we create a campaign. So a campaign is a set of nodes that is generated with the same template. We can see that Group A used 1 campaign and Group B used 2 campaigns. And an example of the 2 campaigns used by the Group B is shown at the bottom of the slide. So, from the logs of our honeypots, we could identify 2 groups, but are there any other on the internet? To answer these questions, we are going to use the LeakIX Internet Scanner. LeakIX searches for Elasticsearch and MySQL servers without authentication. If these databases are infected, LeakIX collects the ransom note. So, our clustering approach starts from 23,000 of ransom notes that belong to 302,000 of infections. And we are going to identify the campaigns. Then we are going to identify which campaigns are run by the same group. We could identify these groups in our honeypots by analyzing the sequence of commands. But in this case, we don't have the sequence of command. We only have the ransom nodes. So we are going to identify the campaigns that are run by the same group by the reuse of the IOCs. In this case, the email address, onion address, and Bitcoin address. If 2 different campaigns use the same Bitcoin address, that means that they belong to the same group. So, the campaign identification comprises 2 steps, the normalization and the node similarity clustering. The normalization replaces all IOCs by macros, as you can see at the right of the slide. This step allows us to group 23,000 nodes into 14,000 of normalized ransom nodes. Then, we are going to use the node similarity clustering. In this case, we are going to merge very similar normalized ransom nodes. with minor syntactic modifications, such as the addition or removal of a space or a few words, as you can see in this example. This step allows us to group 14,000 of normalized nodes into 91 campaigns. Okay, so now we have identified the campaigns, we are going to identify the groups. So the group identification also comprises two steps: the indicator of compromised reuse and the Bitcoin multi-input clustering. For the IOC reuse, we are going to create a graph where the nodes are the campaigns and the IOCs. In this case, the email address, Bitcoin address, and the onion address. When two different campaigns use the same IOC, we add an edge between them, grouping them in the same group. This step allows us to group 91 campaigns into 33 campaigns. The last step is the Bitcoin multi-input clustering. We analyze all the transactions from the Bitcoin blockchain, identifying the multi-input clusterings with the Watch Your Back tool. Watch Your Back also allows us to estimate the revenue of a Bitcoin address. Okay, once we have identified the multi-input clusters, we are going to merge the groups that belong to the same multi-input cluster, as you can see in the example at the bottom of the slide. These steps allows us to group 33 to 32 groups. So once we have these clusters and these groups, we are going to analyze them. We identify 32 groups, and we have estimated victim losses that account for almost $500,000. We see that two groups attacks both databases, MySQL and Elasticsearch. We see that one group uses ransom nodes in Chinese and in English. About the geographical targeting, we see that 5 groups only targets servers in China. We see that 14 groups operate for more than 1 year, and 4 groups operate for more than 4 years. Also, we see that 18 groups are active in 2024. Sorry. Okay, so analyzing the groups individually, we see a big player. That is what we're gonna call dominant group. This group has been active since 2017 and is the responsible of the 76% of the server infections. This group is also responsible for the 90% of the total revenue. This group ran 35 campaigns, exhibit a high polymorphism. This group also attacks other databases, such as Mongo or Postgres. From the logs of our honeypot, we could identify that the group A was linked to this dominant group, and the group B with the 5th group of our clustering. This group finds victims faster, infect more, and use more dedicated infrastructure. Also, this group uses more complex procedures, such as locking the database to prevent other infections. So we can conclude that this group is a professional one. We also have seen that one Bitcoin address of this group is related with a 2019 Git repository attack. We also found that a Bitcoin address sent funds to a North Korean attributed address. So, to answer the last research questions, why do these attacks keep happening? We see that these attacks is very common. We have seen an increase of 60% a 60% increase in attacks compared to the previous year. The root cause of this is the weak authentication. We see that 2/3 of the infected servers come from Elasticsearch, and the remaining 1/3 from MySQL. However, there are many more MySQL servers on the internet than Elastic, 2 more orders of magnitude. So then, why there are more infected Elasticsearch servers? Well, MySQL has a security feature that started doing this in 2010. This security feature is optional. The users might have to run it after the installation. We have seen that the 98% of the MySQL servers use version with this security features enabled, suggesting that the users don't run this security feature. Elasticsearch implemented in 2022 the security feature. This security feature is mandatory, and we see that 11% of the infected Elasticsearch servers have version with this security feature. So this suggests that the users deactivate it after the installation. So the 89% of the infected Elasticsearch servers have versions that don't run this security feature. So the slow adoption of these updates is likely the main reason of the weak authentications in Elasticsearch servers. So thanks for hearing me, and if you have any questions, I will be glad to answer you.
Thank you. Great talk.
Thanks.
Yeah, hi, Elijah Bama Sims from Carnegie Mellon University. I do human subjects research, so of course I see this as a human subjects problem. So I'm curious if you think there's any possibility for future work to look at the people that are configuring these databases and understand why they're sort of behaving in this way, or do you have plans to talk to people that have been victimized by this? Yeah.
For now, not. For now, we are not planning to say anything. But yeah, one of our recommendations of this paper is to educate users to like the latest database versions and to not deactivate the security feature that is that is by default. So yeah.
I heard that some ransomware operators they actually just delete your data without backing them up, and they know that you are going to pay them anyway. So have you noticed that whether they will actually back up your data to them by your honeypot?
If I understand you correctly, if the attackers
do back up your data?
If I have no, we don't have backups on our data. The victims also don't have the data because if not, they would not pay.
I mean, whether the attacker will actually steal the victim's data to the attacker's server, like dump the data and then delete, or they just simply delete.
They delete it. They just simply delete it, and it's because it's easier. If you want to exfiltrate the data, you need more infrastructure, more dedicated infrastructure, and it's also a point for doing some kind of attribution. So it's simple to just delete data and.
So it means that even when we pay them, they will still not recover our data, right?
So this world punishes good people, so we have to take care of our own data and talk to the CIO, CISO, and ask the boss to pay more storage and back up your system. We will in the US, the FBI will intercept the Bitcoin. Hopefully, we can get some of our money back.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's really we cannot trust a criminal, and we should not pay. But there are many cases, like in the hospital, we have no choices. We have to make sure that patient get a health care. We cannot send them home, so they pay. They are rich, they pay. But no.
I know. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Maybe we have some more questions. Yeah, go ahead.
This is Linzhi from Northwestern University. So my question is, in this study, you just use the messages from the attackers as IOC. So how about use some behavior like the IOC? For example, you can install some defense systems on your honeypot, and these defense systems, the EDR system, can collect the behavior details of the attackers, and you can use this to cluster the different attacker groups. Have you ever considered that?
If I understand correctly, to capture the sequence of commands to identify the groups and try to other groups do more or less the same.
Or is the same?
No, I'm questioning you if I understood correctly.
Yes, you can repeat that. Sorry.
The thing, if we want to attribute or these groups or the command that they do to another campaigns,
yes.
We need also the sequence of commands of these campaigns, and I think to obtain the data is quite hard. It's very difficult to collect it. I don't know if I understood you correctly.
Yeah, I kind of understand you, but my point is. If we can if I can install some like defense system like detectors, maybe these products can give you more details about the attackers, like the commands they use during the attack.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a good point. Maybe we could do it. I don't know if there are some ethical concerns but yeah, well, we can take it offline, sure.
Yeah, great. You can have a conversation. He's only second year. He still have a long way to get his degree. So maybe collaboration. Don't torture our young researcher. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.